Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 131 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Poppin' pimples, always poppin' pimples, need to pop a pimple, more specifically the cyst, the alien, a building, forming, bubbling underneath your skin. We've all seen these videos, Dr. Pimple Popper. I guess I have an addiction, yeah, because I need to physically prevent myself from watching a pimple popping video, because if I do, my afternoon is ruined. It spirals hours later. Oh, I should edit videos. I should have made the jokes, but I'm trying to find one that's bigger, that shoots out more. And I like the cyst, the ones with the sack, the ones that I like the homemade ones where, there's a coffee table with some beer bottles and the wife is putting the pin in and squeezing it, and the father or the brother's like, hey, get the good camera angle, and they squeeze it and it just shoots out. I don't like the ones that dribble, that are oily ones. I like the bukkake, just shoots out, hits the mirror or hits the person. It gives me a sensation. I love them. There's something we need to discuss in this opening, though, of episode 131. When you see the professionals, the thing on TikTok now is they had the video with the person like pointing up to it and giving commentary. You know these videos I'm talking about, but it's always a doctor or dermatologist. Let's say Dr. Pimple Popper, because she's the famous one, where there'll be someone at home popping their cyst, and as the goo is shooting out, this bukkake all over the mirror, Dr. Pimple Popper or whoever the dermatologist will tell you, oh, I don't like that. That could get infected. The problem is you could pop it. You could pop that cyst and lose a weight of body, lose a pound of body weight with all that pus and oil. But the problem is the sac is still there, so that the pimple is going to reform. That cyst is going to reform and get maybe even bigger next time. It's like, exactly, Dr. Pimple Popper. That is what we want. We don't want to get rid of the pimple. We do not want to get rid of the cyst. Now, if it's on the face, yes, we're looks maxers here at Verbal Graffiti. If you have, a golf ball on your face that's a cyst, yeah, go to the dermatologist. Get that surgically removed. Anywhere else in your body, you want it to come back. You want to pop it, get that bukkake, get that pus all out of there, it stank, the oil, get it all out. And then you want to keep the sac there so that it reforms over the next few months so you can pop it again. Don't you understand, Dr. Pimple Popper? We get joy from popping the cyst. So we do not want to remove the sac within our skin. Or more preferably within the skin of somebody we know. We don't want the cyst on ourselves. We want the cyst on a loved one so that they look ugly and not us, but that we could pop it for them. Like, that is the joy. That is the dream. You want a cyst somewhere that's like hidden on your body, like your back or your chest or like your inner thigh, somewhere where like, pedestrians don't see it when you're going about your day, but you could pop it. But wait a year and then pop it again, and then every year be able to pop it. You don't want to get rid of it. Like, you want to get rid of it, all the pus and oil, and just hollow out that hole. But you want it to reform so you can have fun again. That is the beauty of a cyst and that sac within your wrinkly skin, is that we just want to keep popping it a few times a year. If you get it surgically removed, it's gone. And you have nothing else to play with. You just got to find like regular, pimples and, your pores on your nose. And it's just like little pimples. But we want the big boy. We want the big league cyst. We want to keep that sac there. We want to drain it. ourselves, and then we want the reform so we could keep draining it year after year. So Dr. Pimple Popper and all your dermatologists out there who are making these TikTok videos telling us we need to come into your office and get it surgically removed, the cyst that is. No, we do not. We do not want to get that sac removed because we want the cyst to reform so we could destroy it again and bukkake our mirror. So enough with you chastising us for popping our cyst at home. We are going to continue to do so, and it's propaganda. You want our money. You want to have the fun and have us pay you to have fun with our bodies, that is squeezing it out. So I love those videos. I love the pimple popping videos, but that is the one commentary that I need to comment on is all these dermatologists just, yelling at us for popping these at home, in the privacy of our own bathrooms. So no, we're not going to stop popping cysts at home because it's so rewarding when you have a cyst. And it's been forming, and you haven't been able to get the angle. It's too hard, and then months, and then finally you get a little opening, a little soft spot, and it shoots out. We've talked a lot about cysts here before at Verbal Graffiti. It's my nose or my eye because allergies are terrible right now. So let's move on. All right, we are very pro popping cysts at home here at Verbal Graffiti. All right, this one comes from the subreddit, Cheating Stories. Have you ever been cheated on? I found out my wife of 5 years was sexting another man. Hey, y'all. This one is a little different to normal. We are both in our 30s and have been married for 5 years. We have a daughter together and have what I consider to be a solid relationship. Okay. About 6 months ago, we decided to experiment in the bedroom a little bit. We had an older guy fool around with my wife on one occasion. So there was no actual intercourse, but there was everything else. We both enjoyed the experience, but mutually agreed that we would probably wouldn't do it again. A few days ago, my wife left her phone in the bedroom while she had a shower. I shouldn't have, but I went through it and checked her Snapchat out of curiosity. I didn't know she had added him, but she had. From her saved messages, I saw they had been sexting and she had sent his snaps of herself fully naked. He also gave her a $200 gift card. I know that we allowed him to see my wife naked in person, but this is still totally behind my back. I haven't talked to her about this, and frankly, I don't know what to say or what to do. I'm not sure how mad I'm allowed to be about this. Any advice, please? Advice? Your wife has a boyfriend, a file for divorce. We'll see you in episode 132. No. But what we have here, right, and all that is true, right? Your wife has a boyfriend. What you do with that information, that's up to you. But to me, man, we create content here at Verbal Graffiti, so I'm going to give you some commentary about your situation. Like many posters or Reddit posts that I find discussed here at Verbal Graffiti, we found ourselves another cuck. And this guy, he's a huge fan of Verbal Graffiti. Thank you for your support and your wife's support. See, you take cuckoldry to an entirely different level. See, you're asking permission to be angry. And that is becoming a professional cuck. You are a big leaguer cuck, an all-star cuck. Whatever else you want to say. Like most cuck, you were a cuck, just a normal run-of-the-mill anonymous Reddit poster cuck. You allowed a distinguished elderly statesman into your bedroom All right, your master bedroom. He played around with your wife. He caressed her. He aroused her. He finger popped her. He did everything but the fuck. Everything but the fuck. I guess that was not in the rules on the resume. Or sorry, on the menu. And then he left. So I can't blame this elderly statesman for going for not excommunicating himself and just go, hey, that's a one-time thing. Peace out. Have a great life. I just know, I know, guys. I'm a guy. I have a penis, Mr. Perfect. If some cuck let me into his master bedroom, I go, hey, finger pop my wife while I stand in the wooden chair in the corner. After I leave, I am going to reach out to that wife and propose more finger popping. So I can't believe, I don't blame the bald, your wife's now boyfriend. I don't blame him for anything he's done up to this point. But you've taken your cuck to such a level where you're asking us, the internet, permission to be angry. That is new cuckoldry. That tells me that I can't treat you as a person. I can't treat you as an equal. You are subhuman. You have no agency, physically or emotionally. You are the doormat of life. All of us on the internet, we wipe the dog shit on you because you are the doormat. That's how low you are on the cuckoldry level. Now, what do you do? How angry are you allowed to be? You're not allowed to be angry because you let the fox into the hen. Like you let this elderly statesman spread your wife's legs wide open on the bed that you and your wife conceived your daughter in. That is something, like, we don't judge you outwardly, but we do so silently here. Everybody on the internet is judging you for this. But hey, live and let live. I think the big takeaway from this, and I don't judge you for looking at your wife's phone while she was in the shower. Personally, if I was a husband, I would try to get in the shower with your wife and fuck, because you are married, but 5 years, so you're probably bored of her body. And she's had a daughter, so her body's probably all deformed and potato looking. So I understand. So you looked at her phone, you snooped, you probably suspected something. That's why you were doing the snooping. Now me, as a middle-aged man, but a spry, fabulous, just handsome middle-aged looking guy, I don't fuck with Snapchat. I don't really understand it. Last year, there was a young comic, I think he was 23 or 24, and he was looking through Snapchat. I go, oh, you use Snapchat? He goes, yeah. Do you have it? Like, you want to add each other's friends? I go, no, I thought that was like a sexting, cheat on your girlfriend app. Like, I thought, to me, up till a year ago, that's what I thought Snapchat was an app you use to cheat on your partner. You send nudes, you send videos, they're erased after 24 hours into wherever they go, and then your partner never finds out about them. It's a very deceitful app, in my opinion. But my comic friend told me, no, that's not what it is. And he was kind of amused that that's what I thought Snapchat was and used for. Well, primarily for cheating. And even though I still think that's what it is. If you're married or you're in a committed monogamous relationship and your partner has Snapchat, your partner is looking for some strange and probably getting it. Because why else would you have Snapchat? That's the big takeaway from this. If your spouse, your loving wife, or husband, or whomever has Snapchat, that person is cheating on you and or attempting to cheat on you. So to all you relationship people out there, you should not allow your partner to have Snapchat. If I had a babe friend, I've had a babe, we were in a relationship, I would demand she get rid of her Snapchat because, Well, honestly, like, I don't know how to use all the other apps. I'd be a very easy person to cheat on. But this ain't about me. This is about you. Your wife has Snapchat, therefore she was cheating on you. And she, not only is she cheating on you, she's a whore. Like literally a whore. She is pay for play. Like this guy who's her boyfriend, the elderly statesman, who you let into the hen. He is her boyfriend, but also her John. Like he's not just fucking her. They're going on dates. He's buying her gifts. And in exchange for that, your wife is giving this John sexual favors. Now, everybody with dignity, self-respect, morals, they would tell you, you gotta divorce your wife. You gotta file for separation. You know, you'll suck for the next few years, but you'll find another babe, and maybe you find a more healthy relationship. Now, me, B-man, I lack a moral compass. My dignity, I lost a long decades ago. I have no dignity. So my advice to you, the cuck, you need to use your daughter as leverage. See, take the information you learned from Snapchat, take it to your wife and threaten her. All right. And treat her like the whore that she is, and you become her pimp. And you just without emotions, you just explain it to your wife. You go, listen, I know you're cheating on me. I know you're getting money from this John, and you may love him, you may not. But if you want me to stay together, if you want us to stay together, if you want to see your daughter again, if you don't want me to file for full custody and take your daughter from you, this is what we're going to do, right? Well, any money you get from this guy or any other John out there on the internet or any other guy you want to have intercourse with, you're splitting it 50-50. You fuck the guy, you take 50% of the money, I take the other 50% of the money, okay? Your wife, she's a whore. She is a whore in the literal sense of the word. So yes, she is your wife, but she is a whore, and you have to treat her as such. So it's a win-win, right? You get to stay married, right? You get to see your daughter, see your wife, and you're also making some money from your wife, who is a whore. I see this as an opportunity. This is America. This is a business opportunity. You should be very... After you get over the frustration that your wife has a boyfriend, you should be happy because the money is going to start rolling in. So you're welcome. I hope your marriage continues to prosper, both lovingly and financially. And honestly, I suspect your daughter is also going to be a whore when she grows up. But we'll talk about that 20 years from now. Let's go look at some photos. Welcome back to Verbal Graffiti, where we are pay for play. We're also gay for pay, and we're basically anything for pay. If you need your leaves done, any landscaping, we'll do it if you pay. You can probably pay us less than any other group, as long as it's under the table so we don't have to pay taxes. Don't tell the IRS. We are willing to play ball for you, wherever you may reside. Anyways, a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago, I was watching the NFL draft. I geek out about the draft, even though I don't know any of these players. Like, I watch college football, but I don't know any of the names other than the top quarterbacks or like the top 10 picks that are going to be in the draft. But I'm a Giants fan, so I was watching a lot of Giant creators on YouTube, and these guys and gals, I tip of my penis to them for the work that they put into the draft. And I'm talking, I'm sure every team has followers who do this, but for the Giants specifically, that's what I was watching. There were 3 or 4 podcast groups that were watching film of guys that got drafted in the 4th and 5th and 6th round. Some like random linebacker from Toledo would get drafted, and one of the podcast hosts would go, "Oh, I love that guy. I got tape on him," and they would give you a breakdown of that player. And you mean, dude, this guy plays at Toledo. Like, I don't even know where Toledo is in the United States. And this guy on the Giant podcast, which I don't remember the name of, could tell you the second string linebacker who's undersized but has great feet and has great hands and mobility. And if he learns for a year or two, he could be a possible starter in the Giants backfield. And you're like, dude, I'm never like, how are these guys not on TV? You go on ESPN, you go on CBS, all the major networks, and they're just like, oh, Shedeur Sanders. You got to draft Shedeur Sanders. And all they talk about is the quarterbacks. And they, like me, like the top 10 picks. But then there are these guys on the internet who are really, they're doing this scouting work. They're watching the film, all 22, every angle of the most... the most obscure player from the most random universities that might get drafted, and they do their draft board like the actual scouts that are in the war room of the real NFL teams, but they're doing it on the internet, finding this film themselves somehow and creating a board of like 200 players and giving actual opinions. Like the B-Man, my opinion is, oh wow, guy looks great with his shirt off. I would love to have him on the Giants. That guy's got a lot of muscles. What's his 40 speed? Oh, 4.4? Of course we want him with our third pick. But these Giants guys on the internet who are actually looking at the film and creating scouting reports, they have legit like paragraphs on the draft pick number 188. And I was just so impressed. It's something about, even though what I'm doing here is not that. Like, it is like what they're doing is above board. They have a passion. What's similar is they have a passion. These podcasters, these football people on the internet who are not hired by any major networks or outlets. They're just doing the work. They're putting it on the internet. They're trying to make it entertaining. They're trying to make a living with what their passion is. And their passion in this instance is scouting football and giving their opinions on players that maybe and are drafted. And I see that, and it's inspiring to me. Again, I don't remember any of their names. I will follow them during the Giants season, but I'm just terrible at remembering names and podcast names and all that. And I'm sure every NFL team has fans that do this for their team's draft picks. But it's just inspiring that there are, when you see somebody or a group of people putting in the work and you see their product, I can just, as somebody who puts in the work here, and I'm not putting in the work they put in, but I'm putting in a little bit of work. I see that and I admire it, and I want to give all of them a tip of my penis. They made the 3-day football NFL draft 2025 a much more enjoyable and informative experience for me to be, man. So thank you for all that. And to everybody out there grinding tape, being a stay-at-home scout, dude, keep doing the work, dude. It's really impressive when you just see like 3 random Johns on a podcast that's on YouTube, and they're actually able to give a real opinion on an inside, a defensive tackle from, Mississippi State or, fucking UNLV. Just really the level of content, especially with sports, the level of content, if you're informed, it's at such a high level now that you really can't half-ass it. You can be Stephen A., who's actually very talented and just have an overwhelming personality, but you got to know your shit if you're going to be in the sports industry, content industry. So thank you for that. And let's keep it going because this is a fun one. All right. This one comes from the subreddit Goon Stories. My intense gooning ritual. I have a crazy ass gooning ritual that I haven't seen anyone match up with quite yet. We'll see about that. I only realized how intense it's gotten since I talked to ChatGPT about upping the intensity. I wanted to see if anyone here has something similar or anything else to add. Tadalafil 6 to 12 milligrams 1 to 2 hours before. THC Delta edibles 1 hour before, heavy dose, and then munch on them throughout the session. 3, VR Porn Quest 3. Porn music video compilations like, porn music video compilations like Wazam and Noodle Dude, Rule 34, Spank Bang, 4, Skull Candy Crusher ANC2 headphones. They vibrate the fuck out of your skull and amplify bass like a subwoofer attached to your head. Great for lifting. 5, scented candles. 6, 2 fleshlights, one to penetrate, the other on my balls and goots. Lots of lube. I have one that spins, vibrates, and sucks. 7, candy, something like Nerds gummy clusters. 8, coffee pre-workout to sip on, plus water, of course. And now ChatGPT told me to add even more to this ritual. Just got some poppers, Jungle Juice Amsterdam, and 400-pound sex doll torso. Whoa. I'm also a 10-year lifter now, so I'm strong enough to move the torso around on top of me. I haven't added these 2 things yet, but I'm planning on it the next session. I like to goon post-workout too, after dropping pre-workout 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine for my lift and spiking my testosterone for a 3 to 4 hours plus. I don't do this often, maybe once a month now, but I plan it in advance and it seems I put a lot of effort into this now. Hopefully I can find a girl someday who's just as sex addicted as me, haha. You'd be surprised if you saw me in person. I look like a fitness model, but I find this stuff so much fun. Would love to hear any feedback, comments, suggestions. This gooner might be the #1 fan of verbal graffiti. So again, thank you for your support. From one gooner to another, a tip of my penis to you. Yeah. I mean, what is there to say about this guy? This guy is really a gooner. Because, like I said, from one goon, I'm a bit flustered. I'm going to be honest. Because I goon. And when I was reading his post, I was nodding my head going, yep, check. I do a little bit different, but a lot of the same. So I know this ain't a shit post. This guy's a real gooner. What's that saying? Like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Well, sir, as a gooner, you've been preparing your whole life. So I hope that there's one day when you get rid of that 40-pound sex doll and find yourself a real lady. And when you do, you'll be able to last an entire compilation of Noodle Dude. And you won't be a two-pump chump because you're putting in the work. So I hope you do find a real lady one day. I appreciate this guy's post and laying this into his goon cave and how he goes about his goon sessions, because there's so much talk on the interweb about gooning. It gets clicks. So everybody's always talking about gooning and making fun of us, and it's almost seen as an insult. But this guy, and like myself, we're taking the word back. We're using it as a term of endearment, adulation. Yeah, I'm a gooner. B-man, I am a gooner. So is this guy. And what I appreciate, not just about his openness, it's about the preparation that goes into gooning. Now, what I really appreciate is that this is a gentleman that appreciates, how should I say this? This is a guy, a gooner, who respects his nut. He respects his semen and what he does with it. There are too many people today. What's that other saying? It is soft times produce weak men. Today in America, in Western culture, we have too many weak men. Too many weak men that in the morning open up X, Twitter, find some smut, hawk their dick loogie to it real quickly before they have to leave for work. Too much of that is going on. Too many guys and Johns are masturbating, wanking, and being done with it in less than 5 minutes flat. But not this guy. What this guy really does accomplish with this post that he put on Reddit is the preparation that goes into gooning. And I take joy in that he let us know that he only goons about once a month. And that's real talk. That's keeping it 100. That's above board. Because I only goon about once every couple weeks, because gooning, it's an experience. Unless you're unemployed or have a Tesla battery charger that you can attach to your wiener, like you can't goon every day. You don't have enough time to goon daily if you have a job or if you have somewhat of a life. So if you're somewhat of a normal gooner, the opportunity only presents itself like this guy, once a month, once a week, once every couple weeks. So when you know that opportunity is going to come about, you do a lot of preparation. And you'd be surprised, if you're a non-gooner, how much prep goes into gooning. Like, so many things need to be in place before you can start engaging with the goon. Like, first, like, your studio apartment needs to be pristine. Your penis needs to be erect. All of your technology, whether it's your laptop, your iPhone, your headphones, your AirPods, your VR set, your PlayStation console, they all gotta be fully charged and ready to go. You gotta have water with you because you're gonna be going for a few hours, so you need to stay hydrated. And yes, you need some snacks, because when all the blood is in your wiener, you're going to be low of blood sugar, so you're going to need a snack similar to when they give marathon runners snacks, on mile 20. You, as a gooner, you need that rush of blood sugar. So this guy, he's a professional gooner like myself, because everything he's doing is a check. He's a very, he's very organized. He's very... he's taking precautions, safety precautions with the hydration. So let me go like step by step how I goon and see how my gooning preparation compares to his. Now, he's taking 6 to 12 milligrams of, I can't pronounce that word, Tolafadil. I had the same thing. It's a generic brand, Cialis. I take 2.5 milligrams, and I take it with dinner the night of a goon session. I would take more, but my neurologist will only prescribe me 2.5 milligrams. It works for me, so I do that. No, I'm much more of a boozer than I am a doobie smoker. I hardly ever. I do smoke, but it's on rare occasions and never by myself. So I get inebriated via alcohol. Usually during a goon session, I will have a glass of bottom shelf whiskey, sometimes Canadian Club. And what I'll do about 4 ounces before the goon begins. That way, like 4 ounces of whiskey will give me like a nice buzz. And then the last 4 ounces, I'll sip that during my gooning. Could go from anywhere from an hour and a half till sunrise. So like I'll just sip that 4 ounces, to keep the buzz going during the goon session. Now, this guy is he's tech savvy. He's using a VR, whatever VR headset. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the disposable income for a VR console. So I'm old school. I have a second laptop that I use primarily only for porn. Like I have a real laptop that I use for work and everything else. And then I have a second laptop. That's my smut utensil. I have, yeah. So I open up my laptop, and then I use my iPhone, and during my goon session, I'll probably have anywhere between 10 and 20 tabs open on the laptop and my phone, and I'm going through them, trying to find the exact scene, audio, lighting, close-up, orgasm sound that I feel as though my nut deserves. So I'm working hours to find. I'm bouncing back and forth and stopping and rewinding, and I'm looking for the perfect scene. All right, I'm looking, jiggling tits, a view of the cooch, arms up, depending on whatever. Yeah. Whatever I'm into, that goon session is what I'm looking for. A lot of times I don't even know what I'm looking for, but when I find it, I find it. But the problem with the goon session is sometimes you find it and that's where you're gonna come to, but intrigue gets the best of me, and I keep searching and looking for something better, and that's where it's a race between finding the perfect scene and sunrise. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Of course, I'm drinking water. This guy snacks on, what was it, Nerds. When I first started gooning, I would do potato chips. The problem is I like my room all black and only light is the screen light. So when I would eat potato chips, it would make a mess of my bed and my shirt. So I've transitioned to black and white cookies and sometimes ice cream, something that doesn't leave crumbs. So that's my snack. And I'm not a candle guy. I'm not gonna make fun of this guy for a scented candle. Again, the babes, when you light a candle, when you're in a bath, like minutes before you put the shower head right above your clit, like no one's gonna make fun of the babe. So I'm not gonna make fun of my gooner here. He's a romantic. He's a romantic gooner. I'm again, from one gooner to another, I'm never going to point fingers at that. And that's basically, that's it. Like, we're doing the both getting inebriated, both setting up our consoles, our laptops, and you go at it, and you have fun. 3 or 4 hours, and you make a night of it. Like I said in the very beginning, gooning is an experience. So it's not something to be done every day. It's an experience you should take seriously, you should prep for, and should probably only be done no more than a few times per month. In my not so humble opinion and experience. So, take it out of what you will. I hope you continue, sir, to continue to goon. I hope you enjoy your torso, sex doll that is, and yeah, I fully support you trying to go out into the world and find a real live babe that is sexually addicted as much as you are. And if you don't find that babe, you always have your fleshlights, you always have your 40-pound sex style torso, and you can always goon. That's what's great about the goon. The goon never says no. Okay, let's continue reading A Salesman's Wife by John Lawrence. What page are we on? Okay, we're at top of page 135. We will read 2 pages together aloud. We use a number of very simple techniques to enable the patients to free themselves of the bonds of the past. There are often many psychological stumbling blocks that a young woman retains from early childhood experiences. These may prevent her from fully enjoying her sexual life with her husband, and I'm sure it must have been quite difficult for your wife, particularly since she is such an attractive. In fact, Mr. Burns, if I wasn't married myself, I consider you quite a catch. Yeah? He said in a voice that was slurred and foggy. Thanks. Hell, if I wasn't married, He caught himself as he started to speak, realizing he was now so relaxed that he was growing somewhat raunchy, even aroused by Maz's flattery. Hell, he thought, struggling to stay conscious. I just finished a goddamn fling with Stella, and already I'm hot to trot with another chick at the drop of a hat. I've got to watch it. Yet, despite the timely warnings of his conscience, he couldn't deny that this black-haired female was a fantastic piece of womanhood. Her tall, ravishing body put even Stella to shame, and she had something that Stella didn't have: real class. One of the techniques that we use, she continued, is called fantasy play, whereby the doctor and patient try to enact the sexual fantasies from a patient's unconscious. By bringing these to the surface, we free the patient from the mental blocks against erotic freedom. Fantasy, he mumbled, nearly incoherent from the euphoric stupor. What do you mean? Well, it would be easier for me to show you. I'll tell you what, why don't you wait here for a moment and I'll demonstrate what I mean. I'll be back in just a few minutes. You relax and finish your drink. Alan hardly was aware that she had left for the room, for he was experiencing one of the most pleasant sensations of his life. The combination of the drug to drink and his weariness for the 2 days of intensive driving worked like magic on his brain, and he felt his body grow warm and liquid. His brain felt like a raft floating on a lake, pleasant and serene. Nothing seemed to matter anymore, and bit by bit, his original intention of rescuing his wife faded completely from his consciousness. He was completely caught up in the drug-induced delight. He started to laugh. Long, deep laughs echoed in his brain like distant, pealing bells. Christ, this is fantastic, he mused delightedly. I feel incredible. This is terrific scotch. They must have put some type of angel dust in this stuff. Go suck a fat one.